excitement is really mounting to fever pitch as people feel that this was going to be the fastest and the hardest 1000 ever run.
The 1975 Hardy Ferodo 1000 was more than just round 3 of the manufacturer's championship. It was a proving ground, and for some, a lifeline.
Bond runs through the corner as the rest of the field gets underway and runs and streams down the straight cleanly, all trying to find a safe position.
Pole position went to Colin Bond in the HDT Torana L34, clocking at 2 minutes 27.4 seconds. Just a tenth behind was Alan Moffatt in his Ford XB Falcon GT. Brock qualified third, followed by Bob Morris in the Ron Hodgson Motors entry.
Oh, and already so many troubles in the pits. Jim Richards has had a few problems in the New Zealand Holden, but look at them going down the straight. You can almost see the gap there. As we pull back, you'll see the distance between the two cars. It's you can see now how the Falcon is certainly catching up to Bond, so there's no doubt who's got the legs. Alan Moffatt was saying he was building the car for down the straight. Now he may be out-braked, but let's see, it's side by side. Bond is going a little later. He'll take a very difficult line on the outside. Moffatt is not going to let him through. In fact, he closes up again because he knows he's got the line and he's going to shoulder Colin Bond out of it if he possibly can. And now it's all acceleration up to the line. This is only third lap and already it is neck and neck, side by side. Imagine the cheer from the crowd. It is Bond who's got the better gearing and has more acceleration, and it is Brock who's behind who's closed on them both. But first in this time, and being so close to Bond's nose, is Moffatt around the bend, and now Alan Moffatt leads the race, and Peter Brock pulls out and decides that he might like to lead for a change, and he goes up on the outside of Colin Bond. Well, indeed.
The start of the race was hotly contested between Moffatt and Bond, with Brock bringing up the rear. All three cars took turns leading the race, until eventually the superior straight-line speed of the big Falcon won out and pulled away.
Let's remember, we've still got 158 laps to go.
They're running at just under 1 minute 32 seconds, which is well within the capability of the vehicles.
Yes.
Goss, last year's winner, was plagued early. His new Falcon wasn't ready in time, and the hastily prepared car blew its engine after just 10 laps.
Fairly serious oil pouring around. As Kerry Luckand was saying earlier, they had trouble there. Howard Marsden, you were talking with the group last night. They had problems with their motor. In fact, they can't hold the car this stage.
The problem with John Goss was that he solved the problem that he had yesterday, but he did not do sufficient laps yesterday in practice to sort out any other problems that may show up in the vehicle, and unfortunately here he is having these problems show up immediately here today.
Well, John Goss, the 1974 winner, and obviously not a winner today. We've just had news it seized the engine, John.
Yeah, we had a major engine failure, which is a disappointment. I think my new Falcon's got a lot of potential. We need some more development. It was a new car. This was its first race, and a lot of the minor chassis problems that we had with the car prevented us from getting into a lot of serious engine development. So we've had an engine failure and we're out of the race.
Moffatt has won the race 3 times. The last 2 years ago, the first year of the 1,000 kilometre race with Pete Gagan as co-driver, has the same man backing with him this year, has the great advantage of knowing that as a co-driver he has a man who has the ability to lap just as quickly as he can, and that's something that probably no other top team can boast in terms of an advantage. Alan Moffatt then must be feeling rather content, even though it's very early days in this long race, which could go on for a total of 7 to 7.5 hours. Once again, though, that sign of oil there under the very hard centrifugal force of the cutting, which suggests that leak is certainly still there. Whether it's worsening is a bit hard to say. No more of that tunnel, I wouldn't have thought how that we saw before.
No, this could go on for a long time now. He's showing it through that particular corner, and he's showing it through the left-hander at the end of the pit straight. It means that they've got a bit of oil surge problem, which is combining with a small leak. And it may look worse than it really is, but I'd be very worried about it if I was involved with the vehicle.
Oh, Colin Bond into the pits. We'll get on to that question later on. While Bond comes in for the first stop, a scheduled stop. He was expected in around this time. Let's just watch and see how the drilled Harry Firth crew go about their action. One man adding fuel, another ready to go. One underneath checking the back tyres and differential.
Ian Tate under the back wheels, and he's adjusting the rear brakes. You see him turning the thing. This is the major problem of the brakes on the Torana. They've only got drum brakes there, and he's adjusting them. He's well experienced in this. It's stinking hot under there. He's burning his hands doing this particular job.
As the first round of pit stops kicked off, the Alan Grice Torana was crashed out from third position.
Oh, there's a praying in the side there. It's one of our leading drivers, the Alan Grice car, which has gone in, the Craven Mile vehicle. Oh, you can see the disgust on his face.
Well, Alan Grice and Jim Hunter in the Craven Mile car. You've run your race. Alan, what happened?
We were lapping exactly as we set out to do. We were very happy with the pace of the race, and I came up and lapped two cars at the end of the straight. I went between the two of them, and then the three of us went in the braking area. There was an Escort on the inside. I don't know the car on the outside, but that's the car that hit me and just knocked us off the road. You can't do anything about that. We're just knocked out of the race by some galoot.
Back as Alan Moffatt comes in the pits. Let's forget the Class A car just a moment while we watch the leader go through his pit stop.
Moffatt handed over to Ian Gagan with a handy lead.
The car immediately. It's going to be a change of driver. Moffatt gets out. Will help Big Pete Gagan. I emphasise the big factor there. Looks like he can't even get into the car, but it's just a question of getting the buckle out of the way. Gagan struggles into the car. The timer is on. You can see for yourself the amount of time taken there. Tyres so new that even the sticker is still on the tread.
So that's John Wynn, the team leader, who's looking after the right-hand front wheel. Peter Jeffries at the left rear. The right rear, I beg your pardon. Moffatt's getting Gagan into the car. After he's got Moffatt in, Gagan in, he will then talk to Gagan and tell him the weak points or the advantages of the car.
Alan Moffatt, our race leader, certainly looking good for you at this stage, Alan.
Well, I don't know what kind of gap we've got, and I don't know what pit stop Colin had, but presuming our fellas were as quick, I'd say we're right there. Certainly a race like no one's ever seen at Bathurst before, that's for sure.
Well, that was a 1:22 gap you had prior to your stop, and Colin didn't go past, so it puts Pete out there still in the lead as we have.
That's great. That's tremendous, and it gives us a big chance on our planning now. Pete can take it easy. The boys will give him a gap right away. He'll know where he is. He can just play it off against John Walker. I presume John Walker's in the car.
No, not yet. He's going in at the second stop.
They're playing it tight on time.
Very tricky.
Brock, in fact, is leading him now, and I think that's Jansen's car behind, which may suggest that Gagan is slowing a little bit.
Gearbox issues and a broken control arm would soon end their chances of a win.
17 is Jansen behind, and he too is catching Gagan as well, something he shouldn't be doing.
From that point on, Holden's Torana L34s proved dominant.
Second spot. Jansen is having a bit of a nibble there to get by. The flags are out warning the Escorts that they've got some big fish behind them. Once again, the middle stages have proved vital in the Hardy Parade 1000 at Bathurst. The car we're looking at, the Alan Moffatt vehicle, has lost all chance of winning. Upsets with the two leading cars. Moffatt has been in the pits with transmission troubles, couldn't select gears, had a gearbox change, and after only 40 minutes and many burnt fingers back on the track again, Colin Bond, who was leading him in the race, has had transmission troubles. Johnny Walker at the wheel, they've been in the pits as well, and the Holden dealer team threat has vanished from the race. So the two leaders, Alan Moffatt and Colin Bond, have both had disastrous sessions in the last hour, and both have now slipped from all contention.
The leader is Peter Brock there in car number 5, running second and catching him all the time, and by quite a measurable margin each lap is Frank Gardner driving the Ron Hodgson entered Torana number 7. So it's going to be a great battle. It is a great battle between these two cars.
Frank Gardner still driving rapidly and safely in the Ron Hodgson Torana. Or should I also add the Channel 7 Torana, because the number is there for some particular reason. It bears the round up of 80 and 7, so there are a few fingers crossed the various camera towers around the circuit. Because we've got him coming in now for a pit stop. This will be a critical one as the car is brought in for what would probably be its last scheduled stop. So the race leader is in. We'll put the stopwatch on. So it'll be Gardner who'll stay on board and carry the race right through to the finish, I would think, if they can go that far.
And up the top of the mountain, my goodness, there's somebody a long way off the circuit, right out there in the dust.
You can see the looks of concern on the faces of the spectators there, people still rushing to see what's happened. It's been a long way up the escape road, though, that Colin Bond has come. He's going back down the main straight, and Colin really had them scattering there, so some sort of brake trouble, I'd say. He turns left now.
It's down the
turns right into the road where he should have turned left. Colin Bond went so far up there that he really had them running way up the dirt road. Now, he likes dirt roads, but that's not the reason he went up there. circulating regularly. Now we know he's been conserving the brakes. The thing we don't know, of course, is just how much conservation that Frank Gardner has been able to achieve by going just a little more steadily on them. Meantime, the hapless Alan Moffatt is slowing down again. Look at how he's heading towards the pits. Led the race early on, just passing the Alan Grice vehicle that was involved in a collision with another car there. It's been parked there from the early stages. And Moffatt takes the car into the pits.
You can see
there the way he's working the steering wheel and the way the wheels are lying over. He's got real problems there at the side.
He's in real trouble with all sorts of new problems developing. That's been the thing. He's conquered the old problems, but he's run into some new ones.
I don't want to sound sour grapes, but if I do anything over the next 365 days, it'll be lobby to get this race into perspective for safety. We've now lost something on the steering because we've got to use stock steering things, the speeds we're going, the strains we're doing, just too much for it. Cams, the organizers, everybody in our fraternity are going to have to wake up to this before we hurt one of our leading drivers, and I don't want to be one of them.
Peter Brock is driving a car we're watching at the moment. A little bit of confusion here, I confess. The information being fed into the computer at the moment from the ARDC lap scorers suggests that Brock is in the lead. That was the latest situation that came to just a few minutes ago. I don't see how it could be, because we saw Gardner overtake. Brock has since been in the pits for a fairly long stop. The information just before was that in fact Gardner had almost 2 laps over Peter Brock, and now the lap scorers have Brock back in front. I don't think it's right, but that's the way it's coming through at the moment.
Brock and co-driver Brian Sampson ran consistently, avoiding major mechanical dramas. Their pace was relentless, and Brock set the fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 29.8 seconds. Bob Morris and Frank Gardner kept pressure on in the Ron Hodgson Torana.
Someone who looks as though he could do to be in the same place as Jim Richards from New Zealand there, just opening the bonnet. You can see the steam or smoke issuing from the side.
Barry Seaton, back wheel missing, creeping down the mountain. What an anguished moment as sparks pour from the bodywork.
Barry Bo Seaton provided some entertainment in his Ford Capri when he lost a wheel. Was this the start of the Seaton curse at the mountain?
Leader of the class, fastest in practice. Still got a long way to go to the pits. What damage is he doing? Running on the brake jump like that, he might just get in there, lost the wheel. Goodness knows what other damage. We'll have Kerry Luckens waiting, of course, when he comes in. Captain Peter Jansen, the Mad Mary Couple Motoring or whatever, and his cohort in this race, John Harvey.
Actually, I've been watching these two for the last 2 or 3 laps, and they're having a real ding-dong out there. You'd think that this was about the first half hour. They're really pushing one another. They're locking brakes going into the corner, and they're pushing the cars as hard as they can. I don't know if they feel they're on the same lap and got a tremendous amount to lose and gain. If you watch them, you'll find that they're pushing the cars as hard as ever they can.
Bad one at the top of the mountain. We'll zoom in for identification of it. You can see where he's gone into the fence. The marshals approaching here. The flags are out to slow other cars. 26 is the Alfa Romeo.
John Fitzpatrick.
No, not John Fitzpatrick. Indeed not. No, it's the Tim Schenken car.
Tim Schenken. And it looked like Tim Schenken getting out.
That's right.
Last lap sign goes up. So 2.5 minutes, 2 3/4 minutes now before the end of the race for Peter Brock, the race leader in car number 5. Sharing the driving with Brian Sampson, but Sampson doing a minor part of the driving stint. Peter Brock's been at the wheel for a very long time in this last session.
I think it's hard for people to understand just how much this is going to mean to Peter Brock. He's beaten the works cars. He left the team, he went out to do his own thing, he had a bad run there for a period, and here he's come back and he's beaten them fairly and squarely himself.
And what's more achievement for 3 men, not only Peter Brock, but the men who've backed him and assisted him.
What's
Norm
more,
Gown and Bruce Hindop at the Melbourne developers, who've done wonders with the motor on this car. Very powerful, and they seem to have found more reliability than other people have been able to extract from the L34.
He's also broken a hoodoo which says that you don't win at Sandown and win at Bathurst. Moffatt did once, but nobody else has ever done it. And Peter Brock won the recent Sandown 250, and now we can say he's won the Hardy Ferodo 1000 in the same year. So that hoodoo is starting to disappear.
And it certainly hasn't been done by a private entrant before.
After nearly 8 hours of racing, Brock and Sampson crossed the line first, completing all 163 laps. It was Brock's second Bathurst win, and Sampson's only. Their victory avenged the heartbreak of 1974 and saved the team from collapse. Bob Morris and Frank Gardner finished second 2 laps down, Bond and Walker came home third, 7 laps behind the leaders.
The last time round, and the crowd acknowledge the man who's going to win this race. Only a kilometre to go now as Peter Brock goes for the last time down through the S's. Heads down, will change angle to see the nose on view as he approaches Forest Elbow. Again, the cheer goes up, he waves his acknowledgement to the crowd and the men holding the flags, the marshals all around the track. Peter Brock, a moment of absolute triumph. Won the race 3 years ago. There's the signal around the circuit. Some people are well prepared for these results. Down Conrod Straight, the snub-tailed Torana SLR 5000 L34.
Holden swept the podium. Ford failed to finish a single car. The 1975 Bathurst 1000 marked a turning point. The Torana L34 had arrived, and it was unstoppable. Brock's legend grew, Morris proved his consistency. The mountain reminded everyone that reliability beats raw speed. This was Bathurst. This was endurance. This was the great man in the great race on his way to becoming the king of the mountain.
And win the 1975 Hardy Ferodo 1000. That's it, the checkered flag for Peter Brock in the 1975 Hardy Ferodo 1000 at Bathurst.